using the GST, we are going to bring various other schemes of the government into common service centers, which I will give us an idea, which Tibetan entrepreneurs can look at it. If you look at the GST as such, it's been in talk in the government for the past 20 years. It was during Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji period that GST was coined as an idea. It almost took 20 years in our country to bring the GST because of, not purely because of economical reason, but because of political reasons. But if you look at all the ruling party, whoever came to India, whoever was in power in India, they actually wanted to bring the GST. But whenever the ruling party went to opposition side, they said no, GST is not required. The reason is GST is actually a game changer of India. So whichever party brings it will get the credit. The problem is not about bringing the GST, it is about if you bring the GST, who will get the credit. So ultimately, it was the order of the time that the Narendra Modi government got majority in 2014 in the Lok Sabha, and they also had vision to bring it. That's one of the things. The moment they came to the power, it was in August 2014 itself, the talks on GST started in the government, and he wanted to fast track it. And we are also in a unique time when the technology is very advanced. For example, let's assume that the GST was brought during Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji period. It would not be the same version or same level at which now it has been brought. The reason is today in India, including the northeastern state, about 113 crore people have Aadhaar card. I'm sure everybody here will be having an Aadhaar card. It's like a more citizenship card, actually, if you look at it. Every person who is born in India is going to have Aadhaar card. Now, what is this Aadhaar card? Before I explain the GST, you need to know what is happening in India, because we are not purely going to discuss GST here. We are going to discuss the other schemes of the GST, other schemes in the government which can be enabled through GST. Now, about 113 crore people have Aadhaar card out of 130 crore people. This is a great thing that has happened in the country. Today in our country, nobody can die without an identity. Nobody can die without an identity. Reason is, you have thumb impression. When somebody is going to keep the thumb impression, they are going to find out his entire history. Where he comes from, which background he belongs to, who are his relatives, which residential address he was staying. That is the kind of transformation that the country is undergoing. This is a great asset for GST. Second, Jan-Dhan accounts. Today, the problem in the government with respect to providing subsidy, reaching out to the poor people, was not that the fund was not allotted to the central government or the state government. But the fund allotted to the central government did not reach the poor because middlemen took away. So now 37 crore people have Jan-Dhan account in India. For example, if you have LPG, that means you have Jan-Dhan account. How many of them have Pagal scheme, that gas subsidy account? If you have LPG, definitely would have had the Pagal scheme. 37 crore people have bank accounts. With 37 crore people, 37 crore family, that is 37 crore people have means 90 crore people have bank account. That is, family has bank account. 37 crore people is equal to 90 crore people, 90 crore people in India. I hope you got the point. So 37 crore people have means each family, let's assume three people. So 90 crore people have a bank account today in India. So accordingly, the entire country is now transforming. Apart from that, mobile connections are increasing. About 400 million people have mobile connection, smartphone. And without smartphone, that is normal phones, balanced people, around again 90 crore people have mobile connection. This is a great infrastructure through which you can do a lot of transformation schemes. Today I'm also going to explain you what are the benefits you are going to get because when you are going to be in the GST. Today the government has something called Mudra Bank. I think we need to seriously look at, Tibetan community should seriously look at availing the benefits of Mudra Bank. To avail the benefits of Mudra Bank, the GST return filing process is going to be useful. So, and apart from the Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, I will summarize at the end how it's going to be helpful for the Tibetan community as such. Now, coming back to the GST. GST is one nation, one market, one tax. It was in 1949, 1950 times that India was politically disintegrated. It was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji, the Iron Man of India, integrated India. But one thing that happened in India at that point of time was Jammu and Kashmir did not come into the integration. It was aloof again. It never came into the integration, political integration. But under the GST, even Jammu and Kashmir has come under the economic integration. Today, no state in India is spared. All the states are brought under the GST. Now, this GST has a multifold impact for the Tibetan community as such. First, let me first explain you the basic fundamentals of the GST. Most of them have attended my session, but the people who did not understand the session, let me put across that GST is just not a tax reform. It is a technology reform, it is a business reform. I'll tell you why. Today I got the news from the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, that 92,000 crore is a tax collection in India. 92,000 crores in this month. That too in the first month of implementation of GST with the existing taxpayer. So every month we are going to collect 1 lakh crore tax under the GST. India's budget is about 24 lakh crore present budget, and 12 lakh crore is already assured out of that. Without any effort, which technology is going to take care. Apart from that, income tax. So the total collection of tax is increasing. India is a country with 22% of the people below the poverty line. For example, for running your family, you need money. Similarly, to run the government, we need money. But the government does not have money because there are a lot of bungalows and Audis in the country, but we don't have taxpayers. How is it possible? For example, simple example, go to the Mumbai airport, take a flight, and let the flight go up a little bit, and then look at Mumbai. So much of bungalows, so much of Audis, but you don't have taxpayers. The reason is the cash business. This will go off under the GST. Second, many entrepreneurs today, they want to get registered under the government, but they are afraid to get registered not because they want to pay tax, but because of the corruption in the government, but because of the red tapeism. When you go to the government, sometimes it is impossible to get the approval, but this government is actually fast tracking everything. The government is working on the campaign called minimum government, maximum governance. So in using that, GST is not an exception to that model. Look at the speech of the Prime Minister.
क्रांति का युगल 8 अगस्त को बजा था। उन सभी आजादी के दीवानों को स्मरण करते हुए आज 8 अगस्त को टैक्स टेररिज्म से मुक्ति, जीएसटी का मतलब है ग्रेट स्टेप बाय इन इंडिया। जीएसटी का मतलब है ग्रेट स्टेप टवर्ड्स ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। जीएसटी का मतलब है ग्रेट स्टेप्स टवर्ड्स ट्रांसपेरेंसी। ये बात सही है, जन्म कोई दे, लालन पालन कोई करे। कृष्ण को जन्म किसी ने दिया, कृष्ण को बड़ा किसी ने बनाया। लेकिन ये भी सही है कि ये किसी दल का, किसी सरकार का विजय नहीं है। ये भारत की लोकतंत्र की उच्च परंपराओं का विजय है। ये सभी राजनीतिक दलों का विजय है। लोकतंत्र ये सिर्फ बहुमत के अंक का खेल नहीं हो सकता है, ये सहमति की उसके कारण भी देश को भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त बनाने की दिशा में हमें अवसर मिलेगा। 5 बातों की ओर हम ध्यान केंद्रित करते हैं। मैन, मशीन, मटीरियल, मनी एंड मिनट, समय। अगर ये करने में हमारी व्यवस्थाएं आगे बढ़ती हैं तो इकोनॉमी को बढ़ने के लिए और कोई नए अवसर तलाशने नहीं पड़ते हैं।
So basically this is a speech given by the Prime Minister in the Parliament when the GST bill got passed. Basically to bring the GST in the country, the constitution was required to be amended. I'll explain you why the constitution was required to be amended. What are the benefits of the GST? The constitution was required to be amended because central government had the exclusive power to tax and state government had the exclusive power to tax. For example, central excise and service tax was a subject of central government and VAT was a subject of state government. So when the exclusive power was there, so central government cannot levy VAT and state government cannot levy central excise and service tax. This power was required to be shared before the GST was supposed to be brought in India. To bring this shared power, the constitution was required to be amended. To amend the constitution, we required 2/3 voting in the Lok Sabha, 2/3 voting in the Rajya Sabha, and 50% of the state assemblies has to approve. So this took in our country almost 20 years because we did not have the majority. So Lok Sabha, it was a coalition government and state governments has to approve because in the center different government, state different government. So there was no consensus that was formed, but when the Lok Sabha they had the majority, it got passed in Lok Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha through consensus model they cleared the bill, and finally GST was also passed in all the state governments. Now when the state government gave the assent, that means in principle they have accepted for the GST to come in India. Now the GST is a reality, and one important concept under the GST which has got changed is GST is not a destination based tax. GST is a consumption based tax. GST is a consumption based tax. It is not a destination based tax. Under the GST, whichever state for example, if a customer is there in, let's assume you are in Himachal Pradesh and customer is there in Punjab, when a customer purchases from Himachal Pradesh, the revenue will go to Punjab. Now this is a shift of tax. I hope you got the point. Now under earlier scenario, excise duty was levied based on the manufacture. When the event of manufacture happened, excise duty was levied. When there was a provision of services, service tax was levied. When there was a sale in the state, VAT was levied. Now under the GST, it is a concept of supply. Now every sale is a supply, but every supply is not a sale. That means supply includes much more broader concept like leasing, barter, exchange, and then your even for a consideration or furtherance of business. So that means whether you are selling for a consideration or selling at a free of cost. When I say selling at a free of cost, it means very simple concept. For example, there is a customer in Punjab, you are at Himachal Pradesh. You sell to the customer at Punjab, it is interstate. What will apply is IGST. What will apply is IGST. You can sell for a consideration or you can give it for free of cost. If you give it for free of cost also, government says it is for the furtherance of your business. That means you are promoting your business by providing free of cost. If you have the capacity to give it a free of cost, then you should have the capacity to pay the tax also. That's a change in the mind of the government, and accordingly in GST it's a destination based tax, it is a consumption based tax, and accordingly there is a shift in the taxation methodology itself. It is based on supply. Supply includes sale, supply includes leasing, rent, for example, and then licensing, and then exchange, barter. For example, for rice you get dal. Even that will be taxed under the GST. Now next question is, how will the government know the price of the dal? For example, if you come to Himachal Pradesh, you might give the dal for rice, but the dal price can be determined because another store sells the dal. So the government knows how to value it. You need not bother about it. The tax is anyway levied even on a barter transaction. Now, coming back, this GST is also a socio-economic tool to develop the country. It is going to directly benefit each one of us. The reason is, today the government is having a deficit budget. When the government plans for the budget, I'm sure the experience of the Tibetan government in exile is also the same, because they need money to budget. It's always actually inadequate. So now for the government of India, there's a great opportunity now, because the tax collection is going to increase. You might ask me, how much people contributed 1 lakh, almost 92,000 crores in the first month, is just 86 lakh people. 86 lakh people only are registered under GST. Can you imagine in the country of India? There are multiple opportunities to increase the tax base. We are expecting in India that by 2020, my understanding is, it will increase by at least 5 crore assessee. Think when it becomes 5 crore, then later by 2022, it is expected to become 10 crore assessee. When 10 crore assessees are going to be there, when India is a big market, when the tax collection is going to increase to the government of India, entire India will be a developed nation only because of GST. Because ultimately when the government gets the tax, what they will do? They will first allocate to bring out the people from the poverty line. So more the tax collection for the government and more is the allocation for the poor people. That's the reason government is not looking at providing any kind of exemption to any set of people. Yes, it is painful. I am not saying no. For example, a Tibetan entrepreneur today who is selling a sweater is expected to get registered under the GST. I am not denying the fact, but look at the opportunity that you are going to get because of GST. When you get registered under the GST and when you pay the tax to the government, under the Mudra scheme, you will get the benefit. This is going to be the outfall. That is going to be the result of you being registered under the GST. That's all. These are the things I'm going to explain you. Second, apart from the larger interest of the country, there are people who only do business in cash in crores. I can tell you, the samosa selling person in Mumbai earns more than a CEO of a big, large corporate. He will earn actually 4 crores to 5 crores per year. Can you imagine? Second, to put in a very simple way, it may be a jovial thing, a beggar earns in Mumbai 50 lakh to 1 crore. Beggar earns. So can you imagine the level of transaction that is happening, and none of these people tax system in such a way that it is not a painful for the small and medium enterprises. My interaction with the government, in fact, I regularly interact with the government of India. Mr. Sri Arun Jaitley ji came to Chennai on our request. I was an organizing committee member for the GST conference. When Arun Jaitley ji came to conference, I gave a representation. I'll tell you what is the representation I've given, and then I'll explain you the impact on the Tibetan entrepreneur. I have given a representation where I've asked the government to exempt MSME and SME from tax rate. When I say tax rate, today a big corporate is there, he produces a product. Similarly, a small entrepreneur is there, he also produces a same product. But because of the economies of scale, the product sold by the big company, the cost will be very less. Whereas in MSME or SME, the cost will be very high because of economies of scale is not there. So cost will be very high. On that, if you levy tax, this product becomes costlier. Whose product? MSME, SME. Whereas MNC company or a big corporate, they have technology and robust the economies of scale. Because of that, the cost becomes less and their product becomes cheaper. Because of that, these MSME and SME is killed in India. So I have given representation to the Honorable Union Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, from my personal interaction, that I asked him to make up to 3 crore turnover, MSME and SME, zero rated. Zero rated. Why zero rated? If it is exempt, you cannot take input tax credit. When you are not able to take input tax credit, then that entire money what you pay to the government on the inputs will go waste. So I said to Mr. Arun Jaitley, look, in India, MSME and SME has to be grown because they provide 90% of employment, including your starter business, include your handicrafts business. Whatever the employment you generate in India is 90%. The small and medium enterprises, because of GST coming in, the products are not competing. Earlier, at least they did not come under the tax net, no tax is applicable. But now, when they come under the GST, they are not able to compete in the market. So I have requested him to make the turnover, whoever is in the turnover limit of 3 crores, their tax rate of any product what they produce will be 0%. When it is 0%, you can take the input tax credit and apply for refund to the government. That tax what you paid to the inputs will be refunded to you. Is it not a good idea? Because of that, your working capital position will increase, your cost of capital will come down. This is the proposal I have given. I was able to give this proposal only because I am thankful to Tibetan community, because I understand your problem. I understand the persons who are doing business on the roadside who are now expected to get registered. Now tell me, if this 3 crore limit is there, nearly in our country, MSME, that is micro enterprises, you all come under micro enterprises, around 50 to 40% of the people will not even make 3 crores. Total business in India. So they will completely go out. Not only they go out, whatever the tax they paid, they will get the refund also on input tax credit. This is the plan in which I have suggested to the government. Government is seriously considering this. My dialogue with the Union Minister for Finance, my dialogue with Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, Union Minister for Commerce and Industry, my dialogue day before yesterday I was with the Minister for State Minister for Transport and Shipping, Mr. Pon Radhakrishnan, who comes from my Tamil Nadu. So I had a dialogue with him and said, look at these matters. Because ultimately today people want to start a business. When they start a business, tax is a cost. Yes, you might say you can collect from the ultimately to another person, but that advantage he will not have, because already established businesses will sell at the same tax, he will also sell at the same tax, his cost will be very high because the startup stage, and he will not grow. Look at this proposal. I think this will work out so that clearly the hotels run by the Tibetans, the sweaters sellers, the traders in the Tibetan community will clearly escape. So I have given it as a larger interest of the country, but when I square up to Tibetans, this proposal, when it comes, it will definitely be an advantage for you people. I hope you got the understanding. Let me now get into the other aspects of things. One more thing that is expected on the GST is the logistics efficiency. I'm not sure how many of them know, in India, at present, or rather before the GST came in, the logistics is pathetic. Logistics efficiency is pathetic. I advised to the Lorry Owners Association in Tamil Nadu. There's some place called Namakkal, which is the Asia's largest truck hub in the world, in fact, and it's Asia's #1 truck hub. So I advised them. I asked them, why is that? Because I need to know the reality. Today, a Tibetan entrepreneur, for example, sends a sweater from Himachal Pradesh to Bangalore, let's assume, or from Ludhiana to Bangalore, or Ahmedabad. How many days it takes in lorry? Let's assume. It takes longer time. Now you are complaining it is taking longer time. I went and asked the transporter, Mr. Transporter, why is it getting delayed? He said, I can drive very fast, but I cannot drive, or rather sometimes I have to wait in the queue to get the road tax clearance. So, second, most of the time they'll stop us for no reason. I have to pay money there in cash. So there is a corruption involved in the logistics, and that's the reason in India it is hardly 200 kilometers per day. In Asia it is 480 kilometers. In US it is 720 kilometers per day, which the travel, that is the distance covered by the trucks. In Africa, where there is no road, it is 300 kilometers to 400 kilometers. But in India, we have road, we have every facility, but the lorry are also capable to drive. Our lorry drivers, you know what level they drive. So, but still, they are not able to cover in the quickest possible time because of logistics inefficiency. This GST will transform that, because e-way bill is expected to be released. For example, if you transport any products which is more than 50,000 rupees,
aggregate value of the turnover, aggregate value of the transport is more than 50,000 rupees, you have to take e-way bill. If you transfer without e-way bill, penalty will be levied on your product. Not only that, your lorry will be confiscated. Lorry, whoever is giving a lorry to you, will be confiscated. I hope you understood. So because of this, when the e-way bill is raised, you need not stop, or rather not required to stop in road everywhere for paying the road tax. That will also be included under the GST. Second, you might ask, sir, whether it will become a reality. Simple. Go to airport nowadays. In immigration checks, no need to fill the form. You just have to walk in like a domestic and they give you clearance. This is a great transformation. Same is the thing happening in the logistics also. So government is very clear of using the digital platforms. Alright. And government claims it is a low compliance cost. I have my friend from Tibetan community who is now doing the return filing, both in TCC, and one more friend was joined here. Both of them are doing the return filing. I think the people who are filing the return should not charge high amount for the compliance. Being a chartered accountant, I am saying this. The reason is, you may keep the fees very low and target more volume. You know, when will the people come for tax compliance? People will come to the tax compliance only when the charge for compliance is less, or the cost of compliance is less, and accordingly we need to rationalize. Today the return filing is very easy. Only thing, you need a guidance. You may be requiring a tax consultant or an advice, like the TCC is doing a great job by deploying a person in Delhi, and accordingly you can avail it. And even Department of Finance is looking at options to provide you that kind of a facility. So look at whether or how far you can comply with the law. That's very important than looking at charging more interest, more compliance cost. Now coming back to the current tax system. Under the old tax system, you have direct tax, which is income tax. Please understand, GST is not another tax or extra tax in the place of excise duty, service tax. When the GST is going to come, excise duty will go away, service tax will go away, and your VAT will go away, and GST is going to remain. That's the reason the government says one nation, one market, one tax. So income tax will be there. Immediately when the GST comes, don't think that income tax will go away. Income tax will be there. Income tax is direct tax, and indirect tax, central government and state government. Now central government and state government share the power to tax, and accordingly we have GST. What are the current levies which is going to be replaced by the GST? Currently you have customs duty. Under the customs duty you have basic customs duty and customs cess, countervailing duty, special additional duty, excise duty, basic duty and additional excise duty, service tax, and product specific like automobile cess, infrastructure cess and clean energy cess, research and development cess. And under the state government we have value added tax and central sales tax, entry tax, octroi and local body tax, entertainment tax and luxury tax. Except customs duty and municipality taxes levied by the municipality and entertainment tax at the local body, all other taxes will go inside the GST, and GST is one nation, one market, one tax. Next question that will come from the entrepreneurs here is, why customs duty is not taken to the GST? The customs duty is not taken to the GST to make you people get benefited. The reason is, if the customs duty goes inside the GST, what will happen is, those product which is the domestic product which is taxed at the local domestic rate will be taxed for the imported product also. Because of that, the imported product price will increase. Next question is, sir, no sir, the government can take the customs duty inside the GST and put the highest rate of 28%. That is a doubt remaining in your mind. If they do that, what will happen is, you will violate the WTO, World Trade Organization matters, and accordingly your product will not be saleable. That is, Indian products will not be saleable outside India. I am not sure how many of them know, today for a Chinese product in India, Narendra Modi government has levied for 93 products, they have increased the anti-dumping duty. I hope you know that. So the government is very clear, they wanted to promote Indian products as against the Chinese product. India is in the process of transformation. And our competitors, India's competitors, China, and accordingly, India is looking at developing its own products with their own innovation and own customized products. Accordingly, so this GST will give that platform. Second thing, you might also ask, why municipality tax is not taken into the GST? For example, property tax, why property tax or water tax, still you have to pay as water tax and property tax. The reason is, already that if you take municipality tax into the GST, this is a minuscule portion of the bigger tax. If you take the water tax and property tax, first it will go to the state government, it will go to the central government, then it has to again come back to municipality. And they have to put road. Already there is a delay of putting road. Already if they take one pit or they wanted to construct a road, they delay, saying the fund is not there. Now the municipality, if the municipality taxes are taken into the GST, what will happen? The fund will be collected by the state government, the fund will be collected by the central government. Ultimately, money, by the time it comes to municipality, it will take time. That's the reason municipality taxes and customs duty is kept away. Now, when you import a product, basic customs duty is only cost for you. But whereas the IGST portion, which is equal to the domestic tax, domestic rate, that portion is creditable to you. That portion is creditable to you. For example, if you import a machine, if you import a product from other country, you have to pay customs duty plus IGST. Now the customs duty of 10% alone will be the cost. But IGST, you can take the credit. What is credit? I'll explain you. Alright. So this is the change that has happened. Stamp duty and registration charges will still remain. For example, if you purchase a property in Dharamshala, still you have to pay stamp duty and registration fees, which is not replaced by the GST. Alright. So customs duty is kept away from GST. Additional duty of customs has gone inside the GST. Your service tax has gone inside the GST. CST has gone inside the GST. Central excise has gone into the GST. Then special additional duty has gone inside the GST. Octroi is gone inside the GST. Entry tax is gone inside the GST. VAT is gone inside the GST, and everything became creditable. Earlier, the credit what you took on central excise remained as CEN-VAT, and credit what you took on VAT remained as VAT credit. These two credit cannot be adjusted. I hope you got the point. When you sell a product, when there is a VAT output, even though you had a CEN-VAT credit, you will not be able to adjust. Now, because of central excise, because of service tax and VAT fell into the same bucket of GST, you can take GST credit and adjust against the output tax. I hope you got the point. And adjust against the output tax, where is going to be seamless credit system available. Alright, I'll explain you what is a credit system, because many people may not even know what is credit. Because a lot of people would not pay tax at all until now. No, don't worry, it is not only you. But there are many people in the country who have not paid, even who own 10,000 crore, 20,000 crore also don't pay taxes sometime. So don't feel guilty about it. Now here is a time that you need to know how the tax system works. For example, I produce a product of 100 rupees worth. For producing that product, I purchased input. I purchased input like raw material or some products to assemble that. Whatever the tax which I pay for buying that product, government says you can take the credit. Let's assume you produce the product, the rate of product is 100 rupees. Your product rate which you are going to sell in the market, that is to the wholesaler. That is to the wholesaler is 100 rupees. 100 rupees, that product will be taxed, let's assume 10%. Let's assume 10%. 100 into 10, it is 110. For example, if you are taking the credit on the inputs, if you are taking the credit on the inputs, let's assume that 5 rupees credit you have, so your tax portion in this 110 is 10 rupees. You have purchased inputs on which you are eligible to take the input tax credit. That 5 rupees which you have taken input tax credit, the tax which you paid on the raw material, 10 rupee minus 5 rupee, you have to only pay 5 rupee. Now coming back to the wholesaler. Now wholesaler, how much he paid? 10 rupees. This wholesaler can take the credit of 10 and he will sell at 120. Now when he sells at 120, his product cost is 100. He is recovered from the customer. And the tax tax how much he collected? 20. He will collect 20 from the customer, 20 minus 10, balance 10 only he will pay to the government. I hope you got the point. Now this wholesaler will ultimately sell to the retailer. When he sells to the retailer, retailer will purchase, let's assume, the wholesaler sold it for how much? 120? 120 or 130? 120 to the retailer. Retailer sells to the ultimate consumer at 130. Let's assume. Now, that ultimately how much is the wholesaler that he paid the tax? 20. That 20 will take the credit and adjust against 130. That is 10 rupees only he will pay. So everywhere, wherever there is a value addition, only for that value addition tax is levied. Hope you got the point. Only on the value addition, based on the rate fixed by the government. So I explained a very simple example. This may not, for example, 10% is not existing in India. The rates of tax today under the GST is 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. I hope you got the point. There are 4 rates of tax. The next question that will come into your mind is, sir, GST is one nation, one market, one tax. Then why multiple tax rates? Yes, India is a developing nation. So there is a requirement to have the tax rates based on the capacity to pay. So the 28% products you can go and check, these are luxurious products or sinful products. Government says cigarette is a sinful thing. So on that cigarette, 28% is levied. On aerated waters, it is 28%. Luxurious products, a big car or a luxury car is taxed more. A poor person will not buy that. Now coming back to 12%, 18% category, middle class people mostly come under this category. So they will pay 12%, 18%, and some of the products which is consumed by majority of the people come under 5%, and most of the products, 50% of the product come under either exempt category or a nil category. 50% product of the consumer price index come under 50%, come under the exempt category or nil category. Simple. If a person is in a village, he gets the milk out of the cow and get the rice out of the paddy out of the farm, and he cooks and then eats and gets some vegetables in the local vendor. No tax at all. That's what my India is all about. Majority of the people in our India are this kind of people who are not even who are not even burdened under the tax system. But other taxes, the reason why government did not put single rate of tax, then if 18% is put, what would have happened? Baby powder would have taxed at 18%. Your insulin, which is for the diabetics, would have got taxed at 18%. And your car, luxurious car also would have been taxed at 18%. This will become regressive. Never your taxation should be regressive, it should be progressive. Accordingly, the government has brought 4 rates of tax. Because why am I explaining all this thing is because in most of the channels, the GST is shown as like a devil. It is with the music and all, GST is coming, as if the ghost is coming in India. The reason why I am breaking the notion is, only when you understand how the GST functions, you will understand why are you paying taxes. Coming back to your issues now. First thing, for a Tibetan entrepreneur, let me take one business first, my understanding of the Tibetans, because I closely work with the Tibetan community. My understanding is you are in the business of sweater selling, majority of the people. You sell for 3 months and later go back to home, take rest for a while. And maybe some people will be in restaurant business, Tibetan restaurant business, momos and things like that. 3, travel business, most of them will be in travel business. 4, you might be in handicrafts business, handicrafts. Some people will be in traders for some of the products like farm products and all. Is there any business which you do apart from this? Now anyway, a lot of entrepreneurs are emerging because of TED, Tibetan Entrepreneurs Development Initiative, where people now start various business. I saw some of the exciting ventures are there. You people also come under GST. Nobody is exempted. I'll tell you why. Now, these are typically the business. Is there any business I left out for Tibetans? Mostly these are the business, 90% of the people will be occupied. Now, Hospitality. You run a hotel rooms. Most of the who run a restaurant also run a hotel rooms. These are the typical business. I'll explain you each and every segment so that you get a clarity. Sweater sellers are into casual business. Now, this turnover limit fixed by the government for registration is 10 lakh rupees for a special category states. Which are special category states? Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. When I explain all these places in Tamil Nadu, people think it's foreign country. They don't even know. One time I was explaining to one of the students in Tamil Nadu, in Coimbatore, I asked him, if you sell product from Tamil Nadu to Nagaland, what tax will apply under the GST? After explaining the GST, sir, exports, sir. Zero rates, sir. I asked, how can you say this? He said, sir, Nagaland, sir, near Thailand. So that is the level of knowledge people have. And you know why I'm saying this to you? Because these places require a lot of development. One day was just listening to Mr. Kiran Rijiju, Honorable Union Minister of Home Affairs, in one of the meetings. He was talking about the potential of this northeastern state. Huge potential for tourism, huge potential for development, but somewhere over a period of 60 years, somewhere it was not concentrated. Now the government now has a great concentration on the northeastern state. You can look at the policies. For example, Look East policy has been changed to Act East policy. This is looked as a gateway to ASEAN, like Vietnam, Laos. So it's a great opportunity for the Tibetans in the future, near future. Looking at this, but one thing under a GST, it is called as special category states. But if you do business of 10 lakhs, you have to get registered. You are not special. You are very special. In Tamil Nadu, if a businessman makes 20 crore rupees, he has to get registered, 20 lakh rupees, sorry. 20 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees if the turnover of trader in Tamil Nadu, he has to get registered. But a trader in northeastern state, who is a special category state, has to get registered even if the turnover is just 10 lakh rupees. So you might ask me, why is this for us alone? The reason is, let's assume in northeastern state, as a government, I bring 20 lakh rupees. You know what will happen? Already existing taxpayer will not be a taxpayer. I'll hardly have 2 or 3% of the compared to the old taxpayer. So tax base is very, very small. And accordingly, the people who do turnover, you don't have Reliance or Tatas in northeastern state. So we need to support these places, and the state governments are also lacking industrial development. That's the reason in Uttarakhand, excise duty itself was exempt by the central government. They gave a lot of incentives to develop that place. So looking at this model, government gave 10 lakh rupees. You are special only. But under the GST, you are very, very special. They have made you 10 lakh rupees. If your turnover exceeds 10 lakh, you have to get registered. But a Tibetan entrepreneur who is under the casual business, who does not have a fixed place of business, has to get registered even if he sells for 1 rupee. Can you imagine? Can you understand? Sir, I will not register. Don't say that. What will the government do? Don't say that. Government has a mechanism. But a sweater seller, sir, I am only selling for few thousand rupees. I go to Ludhiana, get the sweater. I don't even come to home. I directly go and sell in Ahmedabad and then come back to home with a bunch of cash. I get a loan from Lala in Ludhiana. Lala runs a sweater shop, sweater factory. Lala gives me 1 lakh. And Lala gives me a sweater worth of 1 lakh. And he does not charge anything. He charges some meager interest. You are expected to sell this product, give the collection to him, and he will give the profit to you. Yes or no? This is the model? Yeah, I know all of your models. So don't worry about it. This model also comes under the tax net. Lala runs a factory. You don't get any money from him. He gives the sweater free of cost to you. You go and sell the sweater with a trust. You know the biggest advantage what the Tibetans have is the trust you people enjoy among the people. The trust quotient. You sell, you come back to the same Lala, which you have been doing for the past 5 years to 10 years or 20 years, whatever it is. Your grandfather did, father did, and you are also doing the same. and you come back, give the collection of 1.5 lakh rupees, 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Give back and then take the money back. That profit sharing is also your turnover. Now, whether your turnover is 10 lakhs or not, still you have to get registered. Because under the mandatory registration, now I come back to the composition levy, only 5 minutes is there, GST 1 hour is like power talk, like TED talk, it's very difficult. But anyway, I will try to complete within 5 more minutes extra.
Actually, we have 15 minutes for question and answer.
Question, oh, okay, fine, I will manage in that time, don't worry. Okay. Okay, I will come back to the composition levy shortly. Look at this is the mandatory registration. In these cases, people even if they don't make 20 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees as a case may be, they have to get registered. Let me explain you with the Tibetan angle, that's very important. A Tibetan who is in the sweater selling has to get mandatory registered because he does not have a fixed place of business. Let me tell you, sir, I have a fixed place of business. In Dharamshala, in Maclunge area, I have a shop. I go to Ludhiana, purchase the sweater from the dealer and come back here, put it in the store and sell. You are having a fixed place of business. If you have a fixed place of business, only when you exceed 10 lakh rupees, you have to get registered. But if you don't have a fixed place of business, then you are not exempted, you have to get registered. So that means if government is telling me to open a shop, government is not telling to open a shop, government is telling please get registered. You know why? Government is not penalizing you. Government says please collect tax, give the bill. In future, when we get the data of all these people who are doing business, casual business, we will provide loan at a lower rate of interest. This is the vision of the government. Lot of people get mistaken by the government's call to get registered under the GST. Registration of the GST is the starting point to fund the MSME. You get registered under the GST, you will give your PAN number, Aadhaar card, everything. So government has a data. Using this data, government is looking at funding this MSME in the future at a very, very lower rate of tax. Accordingly, you get that is the reason the government is telling you to get registered. This is not spoken anywhere, but it's an unsaid rule which is going to happen shortly, which the government is looking at implementing very seriously. And second, I am a travel agent. I am a travel agent who just book the tickets and sell the tickets. If you are an agent, you have to get registered mandatorily, even if your turnover is not 10 lakhs. However, the government says you can come under the composition scheme. What is this composition scheme? Composition scheme, and one more thing, let me complete it. Sellers on the e-commerce platform. You are a Tibetan entrepreneur who procure the handicrafts, sell to Flipkart or sell to Amazon on the internet. If you are doing that, if you are selling to the e-commerce platform, even if the turnover is not 10 lakhs, still you have to get registered under the GST. Don't ask me any logic. Law does not have logic in India. So why? Don't ask. Your headache will come. Don't ask why. Why for anything. Headache will come. And I will never ask why. Government says this, and when you go and ask the government, they will also say, we don't know. The law is there, you have to comply. So don't ask why, especially in India, do not ask the question when you're reading a law, why? You only see how to comply or what is that, that's all. If you ask why, and especially to the consultant, if you ask why, he will also say, I don't know. When you go and ask the government also, he will say they don't know. That's the reason the development of the law is also happening in India. Next, casual and business liable to pay. Now, you are a Tibetan entrepreneur. Let's assume you are in Dharamshala. Your turnover is less than 10 lakhs, but you want to transport this sweater from Dharamshala to some other place near, okay, Gagra. Now, you engage a Tata Ace, small vehicle, through an agent. The Tata Ace rent is 1,500 rupees. Let's assume more than 1,500 rupees for a multiple consignment. For a single consignment, it's 750. I know you are tensed. Don't worry, I will complete it. Okay, I'll stick on to the time, don't worry. Okay, 750 rupees per single consignment and 1,500 for the multiple consignment. Just because you engaged Tata Ace, which is a GTA, Goods Transport Agency, you have to get registered mandatorily, because in this case, even though the Tata Ace is an unregistered person, whether registered person does not matter. On a reverse charge mechanism, you have to discharge the tax liability to the government, and accordingly tax complaints comes to you. Hope you got the point. So that means, what is the idea? I can't give any idea to tell you only that any bill you get from the Tata Ace or the GTA, get it less than 1,500 rupees, 1,499.99, like Bata showroom price, or 95. When it not exceeding 1,500, probably you will not come under the GTA. I've got you GTA, that reverse charge mechanism as per section 9, subsection 3. This is the fairly things which I wanted to cover. Now, under the composition levy, before I take up questions from you, under composition levy, okay, composition levy, there are two things. Let me go through that. Composition levy, there are two things. If you are a manufacturer, government says under the GST you can get registered under the normal scheme. If you are coming under the, get registered and choose the scheme. You can choose normal scheme. In the normal scheme, whatever the product, let's assume handicrafts today in India is charged at 12%. Are you aware of that? Handicrafts comes under 12%. If a Tibetan entrepreneur who produces the handicrafts, that comes under 12%, we have made represent to the government to reduce it to 5% or make it to 0%, which is in the process. But this handicrafts, let's assume you are selling and you are a trader. Let's assume in McLounge area or any area for that matter. And if you come under the composition levy, what you can do is, if your turnover is not exceeding 75 lakhs, it is exceeding 10 lakhs, but it is not exceeding 75 lakhs, you can choose the composition levy. And if you're a trader, 0.5% of CGST and 0.5% of SGST, 1% tax only. However, this 1% tax cannot be collected from the customer, you have to pay from your pocket. The next question is, sir, is it a burden? Simple idea. If you are coming under the composition levy, you can increase that 1% margin in your product. Collect and then pay to the government. Because government does not regulate your margin. Government only says you pay out of your pocket, but you can increase the margin and pay out of your pocket. Because of this, when the people who are coming under the normal scheme will charge 18%, consumer will be burdened because of that. But whereas you can collect and take that 1%, you can pay to the government. Hope you got the point. However, you are not eligible for the input tax credit. Please understand. Under the normal scheme, you can take the input tax credit and then charge the customer and pay the balance to the government. But under the composition scheme, you cannot take input tax credit and you cannot charge tax from the customer. You have to pay out of your pocket as a trader. If you're a manufacturer, 1% of CGST, 1% of SGST. If you're a restaurant owner, you run a Momo restaurant, you run a restaurant in McLounge area, then for that restaurant, if your turnover is not is exceeding 75 lakhs, then that 5% you cannot charge from the customer, you can directly pay to the government. However, sir, 5% is a burden for me. Don't worry, government does not regulate your margin. On the Momo what you sell, you can increase the price, collect and then pay to the government. But second thing is your opposite shop increasing the price is the question. If they don't increase but still they compromise on the margin, then you are at a loss. Now can you understand the competition that is now prevailing? Tax is determining the competition now, and these are some of the clarity which I wanted to provide. You are running a travel agency, you have to get registered. I'm sure a lot of people have already registered here. You have to get registered because you are an agent. As per the registration, section 2, subsection 24 of the GST Act, CGST Act, you have to mandatorily get registered, because even if your turnover is not exceeding 10 lakhs in case of the special category states or in case of other states, you have to still get registered because your agent is expected to get registered. I hope you got the clarity. Now I am ready to take up some questions. Before that, within the state when you sell, it is intra-state. What will appear on your invoice is CGST and SGST. If you are selling from this state to another state, it is interstate. So what will apply is IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax. So how to file, how to do it? Today I work closely with the technology partner Zoho. I am a certified advisor for Zoho, which is coming out with the GST app. You can easily file on your own, or you can approach TCC or Department of Finance of CTA or the tax consultants among your own community and then look at filing. I strongly recommend the government of Tibet, that is in exile, to have a help desk. Look at, you should pay also, very important. Our feeling is, whenever government gives any services, free. In India, free and discount is the most sought after thing. You have to pay for your services, but not very high, but nominal. You have to pay. You can't expect free services. Just the way when you sell, you're expecting money from the customer. Same is the case of the consultant who are working in the dedicated way. You have to pay to the chamber, or you have to pay to the consultant, even to the government. Then only they can survive and do the best services for you. Most of the time, here hundreds Tibetan entrepreneurs are here. There is a tax consultant who can definitely consolidate all these returns and file and help them. So these are some of the clarity. I strongly recommend the Tibetan government to look at bringing Mudra Yojana, and Tibetan government can also look at opening Common Service Center, CSC Center in Department of Finance, which can have the schemes of the Prime Minister to be given to the people, like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Government gives 2.3 lakhs subsidized loan for constructing houses, which can be given through some approval process, through Gram Panchayat and all. It is applicable to Tibetans. I have got the clarity from some of the authorities. Mudra Yojana, under Mudra you have Sishu, Tarun and Kishore. No securities required. Under Sishu, they give you 1 lakh rupees loan for starters. Government gives you without any collateral. Under Tarun, they give you 5 lakhs, 1 lakh to 5 lakh, 1 lakh to 5 lakh to 10 lakh. They give you 1 lakh to 5 lakh is in the starter stage. Tarun 5 lakh to 10 lakh, and in Kishore it is 10 lakh to 20 lakhs loan they give you. So look at to bring this use it. And Digital India, this center what we can plan in Dharamshala can be a center of promoting the schemes of the government of India, because when many people are not aware of the scheme, if they are aware of the scheme itself, benefit can be availed. So these are the things which you can look at. Second thing, Kisan cards for a farmer can also be looked at. Even for Tibetan farmers it is applicable. For various things are there. For example, export promotion cell, because today you are having a very good handicrafts. You should look at exporting that. You should look at putting up a stall in airport. These are the ideas. Today the civic people of Tibetan people and the government cannot work separately. Government is functioning, Tibetan government in exile is functioning. You need to come and interact with the government. Take the help of the government, because they are the voice for you with the government of India. With the government, not only government of India, around the world. So we need to look at how to work collaboratively, industry, academia and government. GST is only a starting point. I will take a few questions, probably 2 or 3. Time is over.
Yeah, we have like 7 minutes.
7 minutes. They're very strict on time. That's the reason. I'm afraid also always. Yeah. So any questions?
Yeah.
Sir, yeah.
Someone has done the consumer composition, and then they have laid the balance stock. They need how many need a tax?
So, they're coming on a composition scheme, and then?
And some has the old stock, they have taken the composition, and the balance stock have to show it 1% here, there is 5%.
Okay, so they're charging 5%.
No, they have the old stock, now they have to take the composition, balance stock, how to have to show?
No.
Taking composition, like how much we
No problem. Your stock is recorded in the books.
from the old
How much you have to show the old?
No, what stock you showed in VAT?
Just like a clothing and like that.
No problem. I'll tell you frankly. Can you sit, sir? Lot of business people show different turnover for different act. Income tax one turnover, bank another turnover. Like that, multiple turnover for multiple things. Because of this stock exact value we don't know. There's a stock which is there in the entrepreneurs which is unaccounted. Let me put in a very simple way. Yes or no? Oh, that is a problem now. Exactly. That is no problem as per section 140 subsection 3. Government says if you don't have invoice for because of some reason, rain came, invoice got washed away, somewhere you lost the invoice. That's what the government believes, genuinely. Now in that cases, you are allowed to sell the product. But however, whatever the tax you collect, in case you collect, that input tax credit which you avail, that is nothing but if the tax rate is less than 18%, 40% of the input tax credit. If it is more than 18%, 60% of the input tax credit. If the product price is 25,000 rupees, you can take the entire credit. But you should pass on that credit to the ultimate consumer. Sir, how will the government find out? I am supposed to get registered, I don't register. How will the government find out? For some months I am in Ahmedabad, another month I am in Ludhiana, next month I am in Calcutta. Then I don't know where I will be. How will the government find out? For information, government knows everything. Only thing they have not targeted. So ideally, you will not be the lookout from the government. But again, don't take me this as a excuse. Oh no, the government is not going to do CS. But if the CS penalty is there, please understand. Always there will be a surprise element. So don't do that. I strongly recommend you people to get registered. The stock is saleable, not a problem at all. I hope you got the clarity. Yes. Yes, sir.
So I have a little unclear about the Mudra scheme.
Mudra scheme.
Can you explain it?
Yeah, so Mudra scheme, for example, I was just interacting yesterday in one of the places in Nagarkoil. There's a lady called Mala. This Mala was actually a case study so that you will understand what is Mudra scheme all about. The lady is working, does not have a home. She was always in labor. And in one of the Man Ki Baat program of the Prime Minister in the All India Radio, she heard about this Mudra scheme. Then she went to bank to ask about the Mudra scheme. Bank said there's nothing called Mudra scheme. That's how the bank will say for first time. Then she did not leave. How can it be possible? Prime Minister got this scheme. Wow, he said it is there in the banks. And she went and approached. The bank was IOB. In the 10th time the bank accepted, yes, there is a scheme. Finally, she got 1 lakh rupees loan. And she started this business before 1.5 to 2 years before. Can you understand? Today she is an entrepreneur and she is expecting to scale up to the level of 6 lakh rupees turnover another 2 years in saree selling business. So this is the Mudra scheme. Under Mudra scheme we have Shishu. She got the funding through Shishu, 1 lakh rupees. Under Tarun we have up to 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. The revision has happened. And the Kishore we have 20 lakhs. Up to 20 lakhs no collateral is required. All that they need is your documents. And second thing, should I have to repay this loan to the government? Yes, you have to repay through an EMI model where tenure is more and the EMI is less. People are ready to pay, but the bankers are not providing longer tenure. Now the government says we will provide a longer tenure because the guarantee we have provided, because CGST, that is not CGST, credit guarantee scheme is there, 2 crores credit guarantee is there. So we will provide longer tenure and we will provide you a loan. So the EMI is less, you can enjoy your turnover, you can develop your business, don't worry at all, we are there to support you. This is a great game changer for Tibetans because a lot of youth in Tibetans today are looking at it as a job for a meager salary. In Chennai, I met one of the hotels, 2 Tibetans working there. I asked him, what did you study? He said, I have studied catering, but I am working in a restaurant. I said, why can't you start your own hotel? He said, no capital. Now, if he is given an opportunity, probably he will start his own shop, Momo shop in Chennai. Momo is 400 crore business. 400 crore business. A non-Tibetan has started a Momo shop and makes 400 in South India. Can you imagine? He is targeting 400 crores. So today the best business is restaurant. Look at all this opportunity. You have the capability, you have the responsibility, you have the commitment to develop your community. Very important, you have to work towards developing your community. While you become an entrepreneur, look at least engaging 90% of the Tibetans in your business. Very important. So that you develop your community. Communities are the important building blocks of the nation. So we need to work towards that. You are already, you are part of India. So we should work for India and develop that. That contribution will take you a long way. Alright, so this is the scheme of Mudra Bank. She's already under pressure, so I will definitely come sometime later. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I also urge the government of Tibetan government to closely work with Mr. Kiren Rijiju. He has a lot of vision for you people to develop Tibetan people, and already the government is working very closely. He was expressing that in various meetings. I think you are in a right track in the exciting journey of New India. A New India by 2022, we will overtake all the countries, including China. And you know what is the result of the 2 days? Our government is very aggressive. I'm very happy to be part of this government to work on the development agendas of the people. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'll provide my contact details. You can always have that. My contact details, I run a company called Tycoon Plus Advisors. It is always a great passion to develop the Tibetans. That's a commitment I've given to His Holiness Dalai Lama. Thank you, Wangyalji. Thank you, the Finance Minister, the Secretary of the Finance Ministry of Tibetan Government in Exile. Thank you, the people who are behind it, Wangyalji, Norsangji, and most of them I know, but I don't remember the name immediately. But thank you, the Secretary and the Finance Minister, and all of them here. The commitment of His Holiness is was that we will revive the ancient Tibetan culture in India to make the Tibetans prosper economically. Very important. Culture reviving is one thing, economically prosper is another thing. Take for example, Parsi community who came to India. Today Parsi communities are making India. So it does not matter what level of population you are, how much you can bring innovation and disruption in a new technology and business is very important. With this inspiration, you all should emerge successfully. My support is always there. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to the Central Tibetan Administration and the Ministry of Finance. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.